welcome to this week's video. Now this week's video is going to be a kind of gig diary. I'm going to show you a couple of gigs where I use my Quad Cortex. I want to highlight its versatility. I used it in a couple of what I think are quite clever configs on a couple of different gigs. But first I'm going to show you this video. I use my amp. I still like to use a real amp. One of my amps I haven't used for a long time. It's down here. It's still got the cover on it because I took it out on a gig. And it's my Fender Vibra King. If you don't know anything about the amps, it's a 3x10 inch speaker combo. And it's got the reverb tank in it that Fender make as a separate reverb tank, and it weighs an absolute ton, which is why I don't use it very often. But I decided this week I was going to take it out on my gig with my 335, which I was about to point to, but that's still in the case as well, and the Gretsch is there instead. Anyway, I thought the sound was really good, unfortunately, because it means I'm going to have to carry that heavy old amp around a bit more. I'm going to show you this as a solo from Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. I'm going to show you another video of this band at the end, but this is a regular gig. If you do want to come and see this band and you live near the south coast of England, it's in Brighton on the south coast of England. We play the 2nd and the 4th Sunday of the month, 9 PM. It's the Black Lion Street, Brighton. Now onto the Quad Cortex. Now this first thing I'm going to show you is actually not a gig, it's a rehearsal. Now I'm doing a show next month on the 14th of October, and it's called the Troubadour Show. Now I think I have mentioned this before, but this is a show that we're doing this year. Here's a poster for it. It's with the Robin Scott Band. I've shown footage of me playing with the Robin Scott Band before, and what this show is, we're putting it together ourselves. It's a tribute to the sort of 70s singer-songwriters. And the one thing they have to have in common is they all played at the Troubadour in LA, in Doug Weston's Troubadour. So there's lots of artists like Jackson Browne, James Taylor, Carole King, all of that kind of era. My favourite type of music, really, my favourite era of music. Now last time we did this gig, we all used in-ears, and I used my Quad Cortex instead of an amp. It's not very often I dispense with the amp altogether, but what I did, I set up a preset which allows me to plug in the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar, which I use both of. Now to save keep switching between the two and to have two separate in-ear monitor mixes, I basically had both guitars plugged in at the same time with two separate pathways going through the Quad Cortex. So let me show you that in a bit more detail on the preset with the Quad Cortex. So the way I have this set up, I plug the electric guitar into in 1, which is here, and the different blocks we've got. I've got a gain block there. Well actually let me show you, if I put it into gig mode, or whatever it's called, most of these are for along the bottom here I've got the different drives that I use. So that's my EP Boost, my Boss BD2, the Exotic, and that's my capture of my Keeley mod. And I normally have a expression pedal plugged in, which allows me to it's actually a volume pedal for just the electric guitar. So when I put down the electric guitar, I kick back my heel of the electric guitar, kick back the heel of the volume pedal, and that makes the electric guitar mute. And I plug the acoustic guitar into in 2, which is this one here. And what I think is rather clever here is I've got this gain block here set up. Let me show you what it is. So let's press that one. It's this gain block here, and that is set up. When I've got it switched on, it completely turns the level off. So the way I use that is when I put the acoustic guitar down, when I've got it in that mode, I kick the gain thing and it switches off the acoustic guitar, so I can put it down without it feeding back. It essentially mutes the acoustic guitar. And in that channel I've got this, if you look on the video I'm going to link to later, I'll show you how this is kind of a cut down version of the hybrid mode I have set up, but I've got the IR of an acoustic guitar loaded in one of the speaker cab blocks and some EQ. This is basically the same if you look at that other video. I can't remember what that one is. That's a compressor, which I don't think I used actually, and then I've got a reverb, and then that's the gain block to mute it. Electric guitar, as I say, I've got the different gain blocks along here. I've got a bit of chorus, envelope filter. I mean, actually, if I'm being honest, I nixed this preset from when I was doing an Elton John show, so these effects are more for that, and I am going to tweak that this week before I do the show, because there might be some effects that are more appropriate. There aren't really any effects I need for the Troubadour show. It's just these different types of gain which are useful. So there we are, that's the preset. Right, now I'm going to show you a clip of the rehearsal. Now firstly, this is the electric guitar. I always find it interesting because I set my mix up so I could hear myself quite clearly, and obviously I like a slightly guitar heavy mix. That's how I'd always choose to have my mix whether I'm standing with monitors or with in-ear monitors. I'd have the guitar slightly louder than would be appropriate for the audience, because I need to hear what I want to do, but I still want to hear it in context to the rest of the band. But it's interesting when I hear how the rest of the band have their mix set, and at one point the guitar was much quieter than it is now, and Barry the drummer asked if he could turn it up, so at least he did want to hear it, because sometimes I listen to it and I think, do I not want to hear the guitar at all? Anyway, here's a little bit with the electric guitar. And now moving over onto the acoustic guitar, I showed you how I switched between the two, but this is what the acoustic guitar sounds like with that preset.
If I get it wrong now, there'll be no living it down. Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you.
Also this week I was lucky enough to do a support slot at my local arts centre, which is called Rope Tackle. It's in Shoreham by Sea in West Sussex in the UK, and I was asked if I could do support for a band called Clearwater Creedence Revival. Now I didn't actually realise they'd swapped the two words around at first. I thought they'd just put the name of the band and then that's what it was billed as, but it's not. It's Clearwater Creedence Revival. It's, I think, the cleverest tribute band name I've ever heard, because I thought it was the band name, but it's not. And I even made up a poster to post about it, and I got the name the wrong way around without realising. Right, now here's a little clip. I've lifted this from one of their YouTube videos, or video that someone's put on YouTube of them. Check this out. The guy, Peter Barton, who's the singer, he's got the most tremendous voice. Anyway, have a quick listen.
I see no bad moon rising. I see trouble on the way.
If you do get a chance to go and see them, they're absolutely fantastic. They put on a brilliant show. They play all the hits. They were really good. And I was really pleased with the opportunity to get up and play. It was actually someone called Brandon who runs a agency called 20 Music Routes. He's actually the agent for Ashley Campbell, Glenn Campbell's daughter in the UK. So thanks Brandon for getting me on the gig. But I really enjoyed it, and the audience were really receptive. I played mostly my own stuff. I did a couple of covers. And I just want to show you this. I played one of my songs that I got them all to try and sing along to, although they'd never heard the song before, and I think it was pretty successful. They did sing along. So this is called I Should Have Been a Cowboy.
So do you think you know the chorus well enough to try and sing along? It's quite simple. It's I've forgotten now. Hang on. I guess I should have been a cowboy. We just do that bit because I can't do it. I guess I should have been a cowboy. Should have played those cowboy songs. Here we go. Yeah, good. Maybe they'd sing along. I guess I should have been a cowboy. I could have left some bar and grill. Charge you $50 to see me. Maybe someday I will. Maybe someday I will. Oh, well sung it, very quick learn.
If you want to hear that song in its entirety, it's on all digital platforms, on Spotify, Apple Music or whatever, so go and find that under TJ Walker. It's off my album Long Game. And the way I'm using the Quad Cortex on here is I'm looping, as I quite often do now. I'm not going to show you how I set this preset up, partly because I can't remember, and secondly because I've already done a video on it, so I'm going to link to the video here so you can go and have a look. I'll go into great detail about how I set it up. Essentially I'm using the Quad Cortex as a MIDI controller to control itself. Wasn't my idea, but I'm using like a little loopback MIDI cable. I got the idea from someone else, but it works perfectly, and it's for all the effects, and all the looping is done in the Quad Cortex box. So here's just a bit of a solo that I set up. So I set up a loop, I do rhythm guitar, then I do an octave pedal, do the bass line, then I do some drums on the guitar, then I solo over it. So this track is Long Game, which is the title track from the album the last track was on.
His eye in the rear view. I bet he's never had a car in a crystal blue. You can't leave it anywhere. When you get back, it might not be there. Drive you to drink or to despair. Stop thinking about the long game. 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 Thinking about yourself for me. Enjoy the band.
Well, I hope it's useful seeing those two Quad Cortex setups. I'm going to leave you with another video from that gig that I showed you first off using my Vibra King. One more solo. So yes, if you do want to go and check out the band, we're called The Usual, and we're on the 2nd and 4th Sunday of the month at the Black Lion Street in Brighton. So come and check us out. We actually had a different drummer on this gig. It's called Connor. He's a fantastic drummer. Never worked with him before. Lovely feel. If you watch the way he's playing, there's something really nice about his feel. It's great. It's lovely when you play with players you've never met before and they sound really good, and it inspired me to play in a different way because it's a different player. That happens. You've got someone different in the band. It kind of makes you feel different and play differently. So it was a really enjoyable gig for me, and using the other amp and my 335. So I'm going to leave you with this solo. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I'll bring out new videos at 7 PM UK time every Friday. So I'll hopefully see you next week.